really do it. I'm here to examine the 2022 5.9 WAM. I normally do reviews in copy, but I thought today would be cool to do a video and go over the board and maybe what I think and what I've seen. I've ridden this about 4 or 5 times, and so I'm about 6 foot, 95 kgs with a bit of a dad bod, so I'm probably a touch big for a 5.9, but I rode it in pretty powered conditions with good beach break waves with a bit of punch. So my first impressions of this board were very smooth. I was surprised at the claim that this new surface deck that they're putting on this thing potentially absorbs more shock than the cork, because I thought the cork did a great job of that. But after riding it, I feel like it's just a bit more surfboard feeling. It's a bit softer underfoot. It certainly absorbs the shock, and we'll go into the claim on the material and maybe why these boards cost so much, I guess. But being a surfer and surfing for a long time, I'm very fussy about boards. So the whole mission's always been about trying to get a kiteboard as close and responsive to a surfboard as possible. But look, that might not be for everyone either. A lot of people are after durability and other things, so we'll kind of cover off on what that could mean with this board. Behind me here is my last year's Duotone WAM 511, so slightly more leaderage, probably more suited to my frame. So it was good to sort of ride these two back to back and get a feel for the different sizes as well. Now I'm going to go into the shape of this year's board. There was a few minor tweaks that I think I've noticed that I think helped the board. Last year my board felt like it really wanted to go in more good or powered conditions, and I sometimes felt it was a bit undercooked for me to generate speed on it. And this year I think they've kind of fixed this up, and so I'll show you where I think they've changed this general shape. And if you notice between here and here, it's a fairly parallel rail, and then there's more of a pronounced hip here. So what it looks like they've actually done is pronounced the hip a bit more and then pulled in the tail at the last minute a bit more. So essentially what that will do is give the board a faster, more drivey feel. It basically flattens out the water. Water has to travel less going across here than it does over a larger curve, if that makes sense. The rocker that they've applied to this board is a flat sort of mid rocker with decent nose rocker and a moderate sort of tail rocker. So what all that means is that it'll get up and plane quickly. It'll suit a variety of conditions, not just big curvy sloped waves, because as we know when we're kite surfing, I'm just going to say it, but like probably 85-90% of our kite surfs are in pretty junky surf. So we're looking for a board that unless we're pros and we have 6 or 10 of these, we really want 1, maybe 2 boards that fixes a lot of situations. So I definitely think this is capable of that. So a couple of the other things, if you haven't sort of checked out this board before, I'll just tip it up. It's got a moderate concave at the start, and then it actually drops through. You'll see here, got my professional straight edge, and then it gets deeper as it runs through the board. Eventually on this tail, it actually drops out flat or almost V'd. So that's pretty common of a high performance shortboard. The other thing I noticed is with that outline, these are probably the most important things on this board. This being a little bit wider to here and here also gives a lot of stability under the front foot. And makes the board more stable in general. Now, there's a couple of reasons why they've done this. Is these guys are using these not only for high performance surfing, but landing big freestyle airs. So having a board that's not only high performance, but has a stable landing is a really good thing. And even on this one, I found myself being able to sort of blow the fins out and then go into sort of a reverse situation and go backwards, and probably out of all my boards feel the most balanced on this for doing that. So that was quite exciting, if you're looking to develop your sort of air reverse turns or reverses or anything there like that, this board will give you a lot of stability in progressing in your tricks as well. And yeah, now in this particular board, I ditched the standard duotone fins. For a big guy like me, I push pretty hard, and I find they're a little bit soft, so I fold them over a bit too easily, and find they don't quite give me the hold that I'm looking for. So I've got the quabbers in this board. I left them in the medium quabbers. I normally ride a large, but what I was actually experimenting with is something that John did at Margaret River, which was in his high performance board in big waves, he put smaller fins in with the justification that there's less lift going through the water. It just means a refined tail like this one can actually stay locked down in the water. And also when you push that little bit harder, you've got a little less fin, so you've got the release. So for me, in 2-foot waves, 3-foot waves, I found that really fun, loosened it up, but also gave me a real knifey, high performance feel. The quabber fins, you know, you want to check these out. These have a special foil, inside and out, all patent. They're putting this stuff on submarines and all sorts of stuff now. So I find that these will have quite a lot of hold and drive, and I found as well that they drive upwind and add a couple of degrees to your upwind tack. I'll probably do a review and do something back to back on that one. I've definitely noticed it, but I think it would be good to just do a straight up back to back on the same equipment and actually show the difference on that. But I'll do that in another, maybe a video, right? Cool. Sizing wise, so this size 5'9", I think, you know, if you're up to about 85 up to 90 maybe kilos, this is going to be great for you, even down to around sort of 78 kilos. Below that, I would consider looking at one of the smaller models, or if you're heavier like me, I'd go up to the 5'11", and then have a look at that. Also take into account where you wave ride. You know, say for example, if you're on the sunny coast, beautiful rolling waves down the banks there, but they tend to be quite soft. So I always think on waves like that, you want a flatter board that planes better and means you have more fun when you're kite surfing. If you've got a more serious kind of swell range, then you would consider, and higher wind, that's the other thing, then you could go a smaller size so you feel more locked in and everything like that. For me, I'd probably ride more of a fish board in my day-to-day conditions, and then the reason I would ride, say, this 5'9" would be down south around Margaret River, you know, in those sort of 3 to 6 foot conditions and it's windy as shit, you know, and I can ride pretty powered, strapless, and hold this board down. So that's where I would apply it and get a lot of performance out of this board. So the magic material, these retail around $1,400. And I actually like to shout out to Action Sports. They've been kind enough to lend me equipment for the last few years and really road test and beat the equipment up and test it properly. So that's been pretty cool. So thanks to them. They're in Balcatta, so if you want to try this board or any kites or other boards, they've got the biggest demo fleet in WA. Get down there, just be polite, ask them to borrow something, and they're more than happy to let you go kite surf on it and road test it for yourself. So this material on the deck is some sort of aerospace composite that NASA used to get back through the Earth's atmosphere. No, not really, but what it is, it's a soft feel, but it's got a self-healing property. So when exposed to warmth or the sun, given after a day or two, this will push back out and expand. And I've hammered this pretty hard. And it's hard to show you on the camera, but visually I haven't been able to really dent this deck. When I say that though, I can push it in with my fingers, so it's an interesting material. It really does sort of absorb and push down. What I like about that as well is that it adds to the overall flex of the board. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see I'm just putting a bit of pressure, and this board's really responsive, really flexible. So as a surfer, we're always looking for a light board with a flexible response, so you can really feel that whip through your turns and everything like that. James Carew has rides this 5'9". He's a bit lighter than me, and he rode that to a world title amongst a couple of other boards he's on. And so if you want to see some really good riding, go watch the World Champion. Congratulations to James. We were fortunate enough to have him over here when he was a junior and compete, and he's just an all-around good guy. So yeah, the other things to maybe note on this board, I actually, on my other one, the same sort of SLS construction on the bottom, that ran into the local groin and all the way down the side of the rocks on quite a heavy day, and I was just about in tears thinking of just, you know, throwing $1,000 on the rocks. To my surprise, I only got one little chip in the nose and no dings in the rail or anything like that, just a few kind of rock abrasions. So durability wise, I'd certainly think for performance and durability, these are the best boards that I can see on the market right now. And yeah, so I've been really impressed with them. Obviously I own one. I'll probably get one of these and put this in my quiver as well. And yeah, so I just also want to give a tip out for you guys. I'm going to try and do I don't know, like a tip to help improve your kiting. So today's one is actually about when you're setting up. So when you're setting up to kite, try setting up your lines instead of behind the kite, set them up sideways to the kite along with everyone else, and you'll find that you can fit more people on the beach. Alright, well, I've probably dribbled enough shit about this board. I hope that was useful for you guys. Feel free to drop any questions you have. And if not, thanks to Action Sports, go have a ride of one. And we'll talk real soon. Bye.